Hey everyone, today we're going to start a series on beginner tips for miniature painting, and later on we'll get into intermediate steps. Maybe if you want to refine your skills, we can get into that. But today I just want to start with some paintbrushes and paints, just some things that you may want to pick up to get started. And your first instinct may be to go get the best stuff, and it's not necessary. You can go to any hobby store and pick up something like this. It'll usually come in like a 6-pack. And these are just, cheapo brushes. Probably like $4, not even. And you'll get 6 or 7 of these. And these will be like your workhorses. Things that you can kind of get into the grooves of a miniature and not worry about messing up the bristles. And you may want to pick up a few nice ones as well, and it does make a difference, the amount of paint that you can transfer over, how nice the lines you can make on them. So I have a few here. These are the Series 7 Winsor & Newton and a Citadel. These are all really nice brushes. I recommend picking up a 000 for really good detail from the Winsor & Newton. You can see this one's a 000. It's really fine. We got just a number 1 here. And this is going to be good for a lot of different cases, so you might want to pick up 1 or 2 of these. And these brushes are excellent. Once you use them, you will not go back. And then there's the Citadel here, and this is a base one. This one's really great for just those base coats. It's got a nice flat brush to it. Excellent brush. All right, let me pull some other stuff out here. So again, I would recommend picking up just 1 pack of the cheapo brushes and maybe 3 or 4 of the nice ones, just so you can go back and forth and kind of get a feel for the difference. Now let's talk about paints, some things that you might want to start picking up. There's lots of different brands out there. Ones that I typically go with just for price and how much paint is I go with P3, and this is Privateer Press's paint line. You see that here. Get quite a big pot. The only bad thing about these is if you use a palette like this, you gotta pour it in, and it's not quite as nice. You end up wasting a lot of paint, or at least I do. I get messy. And then there's the squeeze bottles, and this is Vallejo. And these are excellent. This is just a flat red here, and these make it so that you can get just the right amount. At least for me, it's much easier to use these. Of course, there's the Citadel paints. There's lots of other different brands. It's really up to you. You might find that you prefer a different brand to another. Really kind of got to get a feel for it. But these Vallejo and P3 Privateer Press ones are a great starting point. So those are you might want to pick up just a few basic colors, like grab a yellow, a blue, a green. Just try to cover your bases. If you're going to be painting a lot of different things, just go for some primary colors. You don't have to get into like specific shades. Whatever colors you like, or maybe you know exactly what you're painting, so you might want to pick up, say, you need these 3 colors for the miniature that you're going with. And then as time goes by and you get more miniatures, your library of paints will eventually grow. So it's not only just paints, but we do have other options here, and there's going to be some specifics that you're going to want to pick up to make your painting life easier. And the first thing I'd recommend is either getting a wash of some sort, a really big pot. So there's the Quick Shade by Army Painter, or what I have here is the Game Color Wash. And this is just for big projects. And the wash is the thing that gets into the cracks and makes shadow in your miniature. It makes it pop, so you can add detail later on. So this one's really dark. It's hard to use. I'd actually recommend, instead of using this, is Citadel shade. And there's a few different types here. Nolan Oil is an excellent choice. You can use this in a lot of different projects. It's one of my go-to. It's really excellent. I recommend at least picking up 1 of these. There's a few others that I recommend picking up just for basics. You want to get the Agrax Earth Shade and the Reichland Flesh Shade. And these will kind of cover, to start out with anyway, what you would need for shades. And there, you can basically call these washes if you want, that they do the same thing. So yeah, Citadel is usually what I pick. For example, P3 has washes, and they're not very good. I don't know, it's just, yes, again, you'll find that certain companies, they're really good in one area and not so good in another, and you'll get preferences on what you like using more. So they're washes, and again, this is what you use to get the shadows. Not so good. Wouldn't recommend picking these up. Their inks, however, are pretty good. I like their inks. Not bad. And these are for shading over, more than getting in the cracks or something. It'll kind of make a coat over something else, and sometimes it can be overpowering. But say, for example, I want a guy to have a red shirt. I might start with painting it white and then put this shade or this ink over it, and it'll do a different effect. I'll show in another video what the effect of that is. So inks, you might not need to start out with, but something that you can play around with as you start to paint more. Finally, you might want to pick up some technical paint, and basic one that a lot of people end up using is blood. It's just something that people like having on their miniatures, especially if it's like a horror game or something like that. You might want something like this. And technical paints are something that add texture. It's not just a paint that you would use in any situation. It's something that creates the look of it. It's hard to explain. There's ones that can give you rust effects, moss, for example. So when I put this one on a miniature, it's actually going to look like gloopy blood spattered on the miniature. So something that later on you can use to really add a lot extra detail. So something to look out for. Probably not something you're going to get on your first purchase. Finally, we need to talk about thinning paint, because sometimes the paint's not going to be quite where you need it. So there's a few things that you can do. First, you can just use water. You can pour some paint in your palette or your wet palette, and you just use your brush and put in a little water. If you want to get a little more fancy, there's flow aids and things like that. You can pick it up. Liquitex has a flow aid. You mix this with, it's a ratio of 1 to 20 of water, and you just squirt a little in. And this is good also for airbrushes if you need extra flow if the paint's getting clogged. All right, let's see. What else might you need? Brush cleaner. And this is something that, unless you get, there's stations where you can put your brush in and it'll clean it over time. And it's basically just a glorified water pot. But if you really want to get your brushes clean, this is the way to go. I think these are just a few bucks. You can get it on Amazon or something like that. And it's just a paste. You basically use it like soap. And you get your brush soapy, and it takes out that really gunked up paint that can sometimes dry up at the base of your brush. This is really good if you want to take care of your brushes, especially if you have some of those Winsor & Newton ones. They're expensive, so you're going to want to take good care of them. This I would recommend on your first purchase, just to make sure that you're keeping your brushes nice. So that's it for today. We'll do a few more videos kind of getting into mini preparation, things like that. But I just wanted to show you some things that you might want to pick up on your first purchase for painting miniatures. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.